Ciao a tutti. This is Prof Jo at Prof Jo Explains. A child dying is a tragedy. So much potential lost, so many loved ones left to grieve. A child murdered is a tragedy and an abomination. But a child murdered by her own parent, words cannot capture how horrific that is and how terribly sad. We have seen several murders of children by parents this year. Emmanuel Haro by his father with his mother covering up. Madeline Soto by a parent substitute with the mother facilitating it. 3 children of Travis Decker, Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia, murdered by him. And there are others, and if those of you in the chat remember others, just put them up because I'd like to try to remember and honor them as we end this year. And the one that I'm going to talk about tonight is, of course, Melodee Buzzard. It appears pretty likely that she was murdered by her mother. And I'm going to start with a clip from the press conference where the sheriff coroner of the county talked about this.
Well, thank you, and good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here with us today. I am Santa Barbara County Sheriff Coroner Bill Brown, and today I am deeply saddened to report to you that the body of Melodee Alani Buzzard, the 9-year-old child who went missing from the Lompoc area in October of this year, has been found in a rural area outside of Canesville in Wayne County, Utah. And that this morning at approximately 7:51 a.m., members of our sheriff's office and the FBI arrested her mother, Ashlee Lynn Buzzard, for her murder. Maternal filicide is rare and always difficult to comprehend. But this level of criminal activity is particularly shocking given the calculated, cold-blooded, and criminally sophisticated premeditation and heartlessness that went into planning it and the ruthlessness that went into actually committing the crime. We have recovered a significant amount of evidence that clearly indicates that this heinous crime was committed by Ashlee Buzzard, Melodee's mother, and the very person upon who she relied upon and trusted the most in this world. From the moment this case was reported, our detectives pursued every lead with determination, with urgency, and with compassion. Our investigators and those of our allied agencies worked simultaneously on multiple fronts, some maintaining around the...
Okay, and that's the sheriff coroner announcing the arrest of Ashlee Buzzard. Melodee was born on February 10 in 2016. Her father died within 6 months of her birth. In 2021, when Melodee was 4 or 5, her mother was hospitalized in Santa Maria, California, and her paternal grandmother, Lily Dennis, was given custody. And I think we have a picture of her grandmother. And her grandmother began formal custody and adoption proceedings. There's her grandmother describing the loss. She said that Ashlee was not a fit custodian. Ashlee's mother was interviewed and had said that she had been out of contact with her daughter for the prior 1.5 to 2 years, that she had been called in the past to the house, and that the house was, I'm going to say, in a mess, squalid. She didn't use those words. After her grandmother, Melodee's grandmother, had Melodee while Ashlee was hospitalized, and evidently it was for mental illness, although it's hard to confirm. There are varying reports, but that's what it sounded like. And custody proceedings were begun. When Ashlee was released from prison, or not from prison, sorry, from the hospital, she picked up Melodee from school and moved from Santa Maria to a nearby town, Lompoc in Vandenberg, Vandenberg Village. She severed all contact with Ashlee's paternal grandmother and that family, including a half-sister. And they had no contact with Melodee for the next several years, although it appears that they tried. The half-sister at least one time went to the home and rang the bell, trying to get to see her half-sister, to no avail. Then I'm going to put up a timeline now of all these events, and I don't know if we can we make that a little larger? I don't know how easy that is for someone to see. And maybe on your screens you can enlarge it, because it looks pretty small to me, and I'm sorry. I had hoped it would show up larger than that. In any event, on October 14, 2025, the school reported that Melodee was missing, or had not attended school, and had not attended school for a fairly lengthy period. Ashlee was contacted, and she said she was in the process of homeschooling Melodee. On October 15, 2025, there was a search warrant issued, and the police learned that Ashlee had rented a car, and there was a video of Ashlee and Melodee at a rental agency. And then on October 22nd, and if you look at that, that's Ashlee with a wig on. If she thought she was going to be less recognizable or less noticeable with that wig, my own view is that she was sorely mistaken. Not quite as bad as Brian Walsh with the mask and the gloves and the cart at Home Depot filled with supplies to the brim, but still not the way one would go into an agency if one wanted to be not noticed. But in any event, they rented a car, and there's a video of Ashlee and Melodee at the rental agency. And then October 22nd, the video was released to the public at large, asking if anyone had seen Melodee. Throughout, Ashlee did not cooperate at all. She would give no information. She would say nothing. Then the police discovered that on October 24, 2025, Ashlee and Melodee took a driving trip from their part of California through Nevada. And here we go. Look at this. Through Nevada into Arizona, Utah, Wyoming, and Nebraska. And then, if we keep that map up, they did a return trip, or at least the car did a return trip, curving down from the highest point into Kansas, and then going back through Colorado, Utah, Arizona, Nevada, and California. That trip was done in 3 days. And that looks like it's taking over maybe 1/4 of the geographical territory of the United States, done in 3 days, with no explanation why such a trip would have been undertaken. On October 9, 2025, Melodee was seen for the last time alive in Colorado. Subsequent to that, Ashlee switched the license plates on the car from California plates to New York plates. When she got back to California to return the rental car, she had switched the plates back to California license plates. So if we could put the timeline back up now. Okay. On October 30, 2025, the police got Oh, well, let me stop a minute. When on this trip, Melodee and Ashlee wore wigs. Melodee was in a hoodie. You saw her in the rental agency with the hoodie with the hood above her head. And there it is. And there are reports that whenever Ashlee stopped for gas, she backed into the service station and getting gas. And the supposition is that she was backing up in order to avoid identification of the car. Apparently, the license plates were in the front of the car, not also in the back of the car. Then on October 30, 2025, the search warrant was issued for Ashlee's home. She had a storage locker and for the rental car. And the police found an expended cartridge at the home and also a live round in the rental car. Now I'm going to show you a clip again from the press conference now that starts at 7:38 or so.
On October the 30th, sheriff's detectives, along with the FBI evidence response team, responded and served follow-up search warrants at the home of Ashlee Buzzard, as well as for a storage locker that she had rented and upon the car that she had recently rented as well. During the search of the Mars Avenue residence, an expended cartridge case was recovered. During the search of the vehicle, a live round of similar ammunition was located. Detectives submitted the expended cartridge case to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives for inclusion in their national database called NIBIN, the National Integrated Ballistic Information Network.
Okay, we can stop there.
December the 6th.
We can stop there. Okay, then on November 6th, there was a peculiar incident at Ashlee's home that the law enforcement has since said was unrelated to what was then considered a disappearance of Melodee. And that was an individual came to Ashlee's home. Later, at least one of the news reports said that he had come to the house to help with the search for Melodee. In any event, he said when he got to the home, Ashlee had a box cutter and prevented him from leaving the house. Ultimately, on November 7th, Ashlee was arrested for false imprisonment. The false imprisonment meaning being that he was in the home and was prevented from leaving the home by Ashlee. On November 8th, that case was dismissed, saying that there was insufficient evidence. And there were some reports that some people believed that the individual who was found in the home had made some of the story up, or at least exaggerated the story. But in any event, although that's peculiar and it's in the timeline, it seems to be completely unrelated to the disappearance and ultimate murder of Melodee. On December 6, 2005, there were a couple of people walking around in a wooded, somewhat isolated area in Wayne County, Utah, and they saw a decomposed body. They called the Wayne County law enforcement people, who came out, and they found cartridge casings at the scene where the body was found. On December 8th, 2025, the Wayne County police notified the Santa Clara police about the surfacing of the body and told the Santa Clara police that the body was a female and had been killed by gunshots to the head, and that they had a gun casing, but they didn't have an identification at that point. Then on December 17, 2025, there was a match made between the cartridge casing found at the scene where the body was found in Utah and the cartridge casing found in the, in the home? One was found in the home. Yeah, the cartridge casing found in the home or Ashlee's home in California. On December 22nd, 2025, the body that was discovered in Wayne County, Utah, was identified as Melodee's body. And the coroner placed the time of death as December 8th, 2025, which would have been relatively quickly after the last time that anyone other than her mother had seen Melodee alive. And then on December 23rd, just 3 days ago, Ashlee was arrested and charged with first-degree murder of Melodee. And there she is, still with a wig on, although it doesn't looks like a different color wig. And I think we have a picture of her in court without any wig on, so you can see what she looks like without a wig. And there she is in court. I believe that was, and here's another one of her. I believe the one in court was when she was in court for the false imprisonment case, when the case was dismissed. So that's the timeline on Melodee. And if you think about it, if Ashlee had planned her killing in the summer when school was not in session, this murder may never have been uncovered, or at least it would have been a long time before anyone realized that there was a 9-year-old child that was missing. Her father's family had no contact with their granddaughter, with the niece, with the half-sister, and was kept out of touch by Ashlee. Ashlee had no contact with her family. There was at least one report in all the news stories of a parent of another child who had suggested to Ashlee that the children might play together. And Ashlee said that her daughter was autistic and couldn't play with anyone. So she was isolated from everyone. Apparently, the only entity that had knowledge of her at all was the school. And if school had not been in session, there would never have been a report made by the school that the child had been missing from school for an extended period of time. So as really horrific as this story is, there would have been a real potential of this child not being found, or not even known by anyone that she was missing for a really lengthy period of time, and maybe not ever. So it's really scary to think about. We depend in our society so much, and rightly so, that parents and families will take care of children, and that we can trust them to do the best that they know to take care of children. And our laws are set up to provide a wide area of protection for parental rights and for parental decision making. We do not want the state to come in and substitute for a caring parent making decisions about a child, at least unless these circumstances are really severe, or it's an issue where we feel that the state has a really overpowering interest, such as making sure that a child gets at least a K through 10 or 12 education. But otherwise, we really do give parents the right to decide. And in almost every case, it's not only the thing that we do, but it's the right thing to do, because parents do try to do what's in the best interest of the child. But when you get a case like this one, when you have an outlier who's not acting in her child's best interest, who in fact is acting directly against that child's interests, those laws and that protection make it very difficult for society, for neighbors, for the police, for the school system to intervene effectively. And I was thinking about this this morning. If I had a neighbor and the child was not outside playing, I might think it was peculiar, but I don't think I'd report that to the police or to social services. And if I did, I'm not at all sure that the police or social services would do anything much about it. if a child is missing from school and a parent says, I'm going to homeschool that child, we permit homeschooling of the child. We allow parents to take on the educational responsibility of their children. And most of the time that works very well. In fact, a lot of the data are that those children do extremely well academically. Now, as an aside, it may be that the parents who are homeschooling already are in a situation where the children are above the norm as to how well they're going to perform. But whatever the data are, they do very well. So when a parent says, this is what I'm going to do, we ask for paperwork to be filed so that we assure it's going to happen. But then we let the parent take charge. So when we're in a situation where the child falls in an area where the law protects parental rights and the parent is acting against the best interests of a child, it is really tough for everybody. And I think the system in California, with the school system reporting it and social services and the police out the very next day, was remarkable in how well they responded. And then the police tried to follow up. But if you have a parent saying, it's my child and I don't have to tell you where my child is, again, that is a really difficult situation for the legal system to deal with, because we don't have laws that anticipate this is going to happen. And if we had laws that anticipated this, we would have the other problem. We would be having an over-intrusive legal system in parental interests and in family situations where it was not warranted and not needed. But in this case, it came to a really tragic end. And what looks like it happened here, I mean, leaving California and coming back within 3 days, taking wigs, having her child wear the hoodie. I don't know if they even stopped at a hotel or a motel in that 3 days. I don't know where they stopped to eat on the road. And that trip, 3 days, would be a remarkably long trip with only one driver in the car. So it's particularly conducive to a belief, and this is my opinion, of course, that Ashlee intended to kill Melodee when she left California in the first place, because that trip makes no sense. It was a trip to nowhere and back, covering many, many, many miles, and as they say, with no purpose. And I assume one reasonable assumption is that she had the gun with her when she left, because the cartridge casing in the home that matched the cartridge casing in the rental car suggests that it was her gun both times, and that she didn't buy the gun once she got to Utah and then had the idea, I'm going to kill my daughter. And then imagine that trip back, or the trip going. If you assume that she had this plan, the trip going, thinking about this child sitting next to me in the car seat is not going to be next to me very much longer, and then committing the murder, which the law enforcement says happened, and certainly the evidence that's showing right now looks very, very, very strong that that's what happened, and then dumping her, and then driving home with no one sitting next to her on the front seat, and just driving the way back. I mean, I can't imagine what she was thinking. And then from that date, from October 24, back to the time that she was arrested, what is she thinking? What is she doing? And all she's doing is stonewalling the police. So it's just really a horrible case. There's nothing that can describe it except that it's just a really horrible case. And presumably now, I mean, they had an arraignment today. The state at the arraignment said they would not pursue the death penalty in this case, but they are going to pursue life without the possibility of parole. Ashlee pled not guilty, at the arraignment today. Also, the defense asked for a gag order so that there would be no more information coming from law enforcement as to how the investigation is proceeding or the information they have. So that's where we are now. This case, if there's no plea, this case will be going to trial. And again, we have another child lost, and it's just tragic. So questions, comments? I haven't been watching them as we've been going, so if you can put them up. Oh, thank you, Louisa, for the super sticker. I really appreciate it. And for this to happen about around the holidays is just terrible. I mean, not that it would be good anytime. So, okay, Caroline Fenton says she's curious why the judge dismissed the special circumstance charges. Can they be reinstated later on? I think the judge dismissed on the request of the prosecutor that they were not going to go after the death penalty, and the special circumstances charges, I believe in California, also relate to the death penalty, the capital charge. If your question is why they're not going after the death penalty, I obviously don't have the answer to that. It could only be speculation. They may feel that with a family killing or a mother killing a child, that a jury would be reluctant to impose the death penalty. They may feel something that we don't know, that there may be some evidence of an underlying mental condition, although the fact that you have a mental condition doesn't mean anything. And I've been thinking of the Rob Reiner case with the information that his son might have been schizophrenic. The underlying condition doesn't give you a not guilty by reason of insanity acquittal. You have to show first that there is an underlying condition, not that it's drugs that has produced it. And second, even if there's an underlying condition, you have to also show that the individual, when he did the act, did not know the difference between right and wrong, and could not control the impulse was the mental disease. And so in getting back to this case with the mental condition, I don't know that there could be a successful, we'll see if that's what she tries, but you've got a lot of evidence of the planning on the front end, and also the driving back and, not responding to police questions and other kinds of things on the way back. But it may be that there was enough of that the state just decided not to go for the death penalty. They also may have decided, I don't know when the last time a jury in California imposed the death penalty, and for a while the governor had a moratorium on carrying out death sentences. So it's also possible that the prosecutor decided, with everything else in the case, why go through the extra expense and the extra procedural issues that come up when very unlikely the jury would impose a death penalty because of the circumstances, and also because California juries just haven't done it in a while. So Sharon T.H. Max, do I think she had help? The sheriff was asked that question at the press conference the other day when he announced Ashlee's arrest, and he said at that time they had no evidence that anyone else was involved. So it looks like, so far as they know right now, it was Ashlee and no one else. Okay. Question: because she crossed state lines, does it become a federal case? It could be, because one of the links that makes a case federal is something that's interstate. But it's a murder. There's nothing unique about the murder itself, so I think it will stay a state case. Does her interstate travel during the commission of the crime factor into where she's charged or level of charge? Well, it makes a level of charge. No, it's a murder. Where she charged, it makes a difference, because there may be more than one state that would have a claim to prosecute the murder. For example, she was found in Utah. Body is found in Utah. The Utah statutes might well say that if the crime ended in Utah, and that's where the body was found, that could be murder in Utah. If she actually committed the killing in Colorado, Colorado clearly would have be able to say the murder happened in Colorado. What they're saying now, as I understand it, was the intent to kill was formed in California, underscoring what I said, that it looks as though she had it planned when she left California. That's their theory. And so when the intent was formed in California, then the California homicide statutes would also say you can treat it as a murder in California. But there are other states which would have a claim. Now, the other states might have more of a difficulty, because it might, if you're going to be Colorado, you would have to show that the crime was committed in Colorado, and without Ashlee saying where she did it, there might not be much evidence, if any evidence at all, that would show it was Colorado. And the same issue might show up even in Utah. The body was found there, but the body could have been, the murder could have been in Nebraska and the body disposed of in Utah. And Utah might still have a claim under its murder statutes, but the defense would have more of an argument that you can't do it here. So it may be that of all of them, California has the sort of the cleanest claim to the murder happened here. And certainly in terms of the connection to Melodee, she was born in California. She grew up in California. The connection to Ashlee was living in California. It looks like California probably has the strongest claim, all things considered. Okay, any idea what the lying in wait is? The lying in wait, and I think that was a special circumstance that they're now not charging. I don't want to swear to it, but that's what it sounds like. In a death penalty case, the murder has to have special circumstances attached to it for the death penalty to be a penalty that can be imposed. One of them is lying in wait, because that suggests a more cold-hearted crime. You're waiting for someone. So you've got planning. You have a lot of time to change your mind, and you don't. So that can elevate. That's one of the factors that can elevate and make it a crime that can be what they call death eligible. In other words, that the death penalty can be imposed. Okay, Isaiah 30:20 says the area is so remote, she would have to have had a motive to go off I-70 on Route 24 into a vast area of nothing but sandstone. Yeah, I've seen some pictures, and so I can support from the pictures that it's a pretty remote area where the body was found. And so that's certainly another argument that can be made with regard to the fact that this was planned. It wasn't just a spur of the moment decision, because you're driving in areas that are not well traveled. And I think it was, now don't hold me to it and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought I heard some report that she had to go off the highway a little to get to the place where it's claimed that she disposed of the body. Okay. Question, if Ashlee was acting out of delusion or command hallucinations, would a not guilty by reason of insanity be possible? Yes, but she's also going to have to show that she did not know the difference between right and wrong. So you can say, gee, the voice in my head told me to do it, and still be someone who knew it was wrong to do it. And if so, and if that's the case that's proved, then you wouldn't be able to claim insanity. Okay. Why would this is nothing vile. Why would a state want to claim the right to prosecute? That's a good question. Why do states prosecute anything ever? I mean, that's the bigger question. We do it because we are a society and we feel we have to protect the citizens. We have to have a system of laws. We have to have a system where justice prevails. We have an interest in protecting particularly children from injury or violent acts. And you have every state would say, when there's a crime committed here, particularly a murder, it rips the fabric of our state. And we have a right, if not an obligation, to try to repair that rip as best we can. And so, I guess that's my best answer as to why several would be involved. Also, it's a fairly well publicized case. So a prosecutor might say, gee, this is one I want to do. I think it's the right thing to do and I want to do it, but also, I don't mind getting good publicity out of it, that I took a case like this, and got a conviction. So all those things can matter. But certainly what I said about, having an interest in protecting our own would really apply to California, because that's where she lived and grew up. Question: was there any blood evidence found in the car? If not, it would indicate to me she was shot where a body was found. Poor baby girl. Yeah. I don't know that they've done DNA testing or they've looked for blood in the car yet, but there's certainly been no report that they found blood in the car. And it's a rental car, so they would, and they've had the rental car. I don't know if they still have the rental car, but certainly they had the rental car at some point. And I think there was casings found where the body was, but so that would suggest that that's where the killing happened. And I, just imagining what she told that 9-year-olds are not, obviously, they're not adults. They don't have the cognitive ability and skills of adults. And they are obviously much more likely to rely on an adult and what an adult says. Nonetheless, even a 9-year-old would have some questions about this trip she was taking with her mother, where they were just going on a dash from place to place with no contact with anyone, and with her mother wearing a wig and with her mother having her wear a wig. So that child had to have some questions about what was going on. Found a live casing in the rental car. Okay. So we don't know. I assume that if they think that the shooting or the killing occurred in the car, that they will do some, they will pick up what looks like, if there's anything that looks like blood, and do some DNA testing to find out. Oh, this is a personal question. Is my hair short, or is it's not in a bun or a ponytail? And I don't think it's any shorter than it was a week ago when I had a haircut. So I can't answer that. It should be this length all the time, but things get ahead of me or around me or beyond me, and I'm not always good at going and getting my hair cut. So, but I don't know. Maybe it's a little shorter, but this is the way it should look. And certainly no ponytail. I couldn't have grown one fast enough from the last, maybe you haven't seen me in a while, but from the last time I did a video or a live, I certainly couldn't have grown a ponytail fast enough. I have very few talents, and that one certainly is not on my list of talents. Okay, Jenny G214 loves my hair. Thank you. I'm very proud of this white swath. Several years ago, I said, I want something that looks a little different. And the stylist said, well, we could do this. She gave me some ideas. I didn't like any of them. And I said, why don't we just have this long white thing, white and longer than the rest of the hair? And that's what we've done. And I like it a lot. So other questions or comments about, okay. Ashley asked to wear civilian clothes to all court appearances. Does that include the wig? I don't think it includes the wig. And the judge does not have to give her permission to wear street clothes to all appearances. I've seen in some of these latest cases that during the trial in front of the jury, yes, she will be in regular clothes. She won't be in a jail outfit, because the jury is not supposed to know that a defendant is being held, and not on her own recognizance during the trial. But I've seen some recently even at a hearing or sentencing hearing, when the jury is not present, that the judge has permitted the defendant to come in street clothes. And that's a little unusual, but seems to be happening more than it has in the past. Okay. Let's see. I got a question. She's not in jail. She is in jail. That's Sharon T.H. Meck. She is in jail. Yeah. And she will be in jail until the trial. I have very little doubt. She may ask to be released, but I can't imagine a judge will do it in a case like this, what looks to be a premeditated killing of a child. I just can't imagine it. Okay. Brooke 2000. It appears Ashlee refused to get a psychiatrist and meds for her diseased mind. The grandmother and her own mother said she was sectioned in a psych hospital, very severe mental illness. Well, that would have been several years ago, I believe, at the time that the paternal grandmother had custody of Melodee, because I don't think I've seen anything in the chat. If you've seen something, please correct me. But I don't think I haven't seen anything that suggested that she had been hospitalized since then. No bond. I don't know, because that hearing today, so far as I know, wasn't televised. I looked for it, couldn't find it. But if there is bond, it would be way too high for her to pay. She hasn't had a job, and I wondered a little how she paid for the rental car and other things. But I imagine that there is Social Security coming from Melodee's father and his death, and that she's collecting the Social Security payments on behalf of Melodee. And so that seems to be what income she has. Pure guess, but it seems to me that that's where the income would be coming from. Okay. Carolyn Fenton, 24. Let's wait to hearings and trial. Yeah. This will be a very sad case. I saw the paternal grandmother interviewed, and she had a picture of her son holding Melodee right after she was born and looking so proud. And of course, he was gone within 6 months. He was killed in a motorcycle accident. And so that grandmother lost her son and then lost all contact with her grandchild, and now has lost her grandchild. You can't describe something that I think for a grandmother would be sadder. Okay. This is Lisa Canton. What's up with so many murders of children? It's so sad. It is very, very sad. And more so, as I said at the beginning, when it's a parent. I mean, it's terrible no matter. Well, a child's death is terrible because you don't expect a child to die, and certainly not before a parent. And so it's always terrible. It's, all this promise, and they didn't get a chance to, they didn't get a chance to live a life, to graduate from high school, to graduate from college, to get married, to have children, to take vacations, to read great books, to see movies, none of it. So it's always really, really sad. And then a murder makes it, a million times worse, because it's somebody who's cut short that life. And then when it's a parent, I mean, I just can't imagine it could be worse than that. Dorothy W., is it true that Ashlee lost custody of her first daughter? I don't know the answer to that affirmatively. I've seen reports that she had an older child. I think her name might have been Desiree. And there was a report that her mother, that is the maternal grandmother, said that Ashlee had lost custody of that child. But having seen those, it might have been Court TV, talking about what the maternal grandmother said. I have not seen an interview with the maternal grandmother who said that. And I tried today to find a confirmed source and could not find one. So that doesn't mean that there isn't a confirmed source out there. It certainly doesn't mean that the story isn't true. Could easily be true that there was another child and that she lost custody, but I can't confirm it. And I did try some yesterday and today. Okay. Crime and punishment. Do I think she'll come up with a crazy made-up story like those people she gave her daughter to killed her? You mean, what is that? That's Alla, what's her name? I'm blanking on her name. Many years ago. I mean, who knows? I don't know what her defense will be. And I wouldn't even try to hazard a guess as to a defense. I've seen in the past couple of years defenses that I couldn't have imagined if you gave me a big whiteboard and said, come up with something crazy. I couldn't have done it. So I don't know what her defense will be, nor do I know whether she'll actually believe what she says. I mean, it's always possible. but we'll see. Okay. Will I change my decorations for New Year's, or will they stay Christmas until then? Well, January 6th, which is the Epiphany, is the 12th day of Christmas. And in my family, in my extended family, among Italian Americans I know, among Western Europeans that I know, Christmas runs until January 6th. So my decorations will be up until January 6th. And then, with much regret, I will take them down because I love looking at them. But I do believe that after January 6th, they're probably not which they're not in place anymore. So they'll come down then. Am I going to sing a song today? No, not today. I will again, but I just don't think today, given the topic, that it's for me the right time to be singing one of those silly songs. We will again. I mean, life goes on clearly, but today, I think just thinking about these children who are not going to make it to the new year, I just don't feel singing a song would be the right thing to do. Okay, your birthday is January 6th, so celebrate until then. Okay, Dr. Trey 7, but I don't have any birthday things up. It's all Christmas. But at least you're enough days. If you celebrate Christmas, then you're enough days past Christmas that you should get 2 presents. I always felt very bad for children who were born right around Christmas or celebrating Hanukkah right in the middle of Hanukkah. And so people would say, well, this is a bigger present for both. And it was never double. You always would do better with 2 gifts than one that was supposed to cover 2. So, okay, let me see. I see one over here. Andrew, HFA 8GB. Do I think my explanation of public interest to repair the ripped fabric of society is a bit too abstract for the general public? Maybe, but I think you can fill in your own words that you're part of a society, and this happened in your neighborhood, in your group, and you should have the right to be involved in, seeing to it that justice is done. So there was a question that came up, and I was reading one over here, so I didn't see it. So if you can post it again, I will handle the question. Okay. Oh, Jenny G says one of her kids, the oldest, has a birthday Christmas week. She always makes sure to give 2 gifts. That's the right thing to do. I applaud that. Yes. My birthday was not in December, so, but I always felt bad. Ah, that's beautiful. Tikkun Olam. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it correctly, but that's beautiful. To heal a fractured world. Boy, I love that sentiment. That's really said well. Thank you, Ms. Annie K. It really is said well. Okay. Are there other questions? I don't want... Nothing. Veal wants to know if the capping gown over there has been named. No, we haven't started that yet. I will let everyone know when and where to send suggestions. And who will be judging it, because I don't want to be judging it, because I'd rather have somebody else do it so I can say whatever the decision was, not me, go complain to them. But we haven't done that yet. So after the first of the year. And speaking of what's coming up, I will be doing a couple of members only things. We're going to do a meet and greet where people can actually talk and be heard, which is just great. And I think I said I had gotten some requests for my background, and I just can't imagine anybody cares, but I'm going to do that as a members only also coming up. And then we're doing the Tuesday interviews. If you haven't seen the interview that we did last week with the DNA detective, Colleen Fitzgerald, Fitzpatrick, who is a pioneer in DNA testing and had done work on one of the bodies on the Titanic, and has done work in attempting to identify Amelia Earhart's remains and some of the really big cases that have been handled over the years. You really should. I really recommend that you listen to her. It's fascinating to hear her describe how the DNA testing is done. I learned a lot, but of course I didn't know much, so I had all I had to do was go up from where I was. But it was really a fascinating interview with her, and She has quite a little sense of humor, and she had many careers. She started out in nuclear physics with a degree from Rice and did something in photographic something or other and worked for NASA, and then was a book publisher, and then went into forensic genealogy, which is what she does now. And it was just fascinating. So I don't know if there are any. I'm going to look to see if there are any more questions or comments. It's just a sad subject, so I can imagine that we have nothing yet. Dorothy W17 wants to know if I'm on Patreon. I think we're ready to launch on Patreon, but we haven't really done anything yet. We will be on Patreon though. So I don't see anything else. So unless I see something in the next 2 or 3 seconds, well, I spend New Year's Eve with us. You have better things to do with New Year's Eve than spend it with me. And I don't even know, is New Year's Eve a Wednesday? It must be a Wednesday. So it's next Wednesday. Wow. I guess the answer is, I don't know that I would mind, but people help me put this on, and I expect that they want to spend it out partying or with children or doing something. So, okay. If there are no more questions about this case, obviously it will be coming up and we'll have more. Okay, here's one. Court Dog Daniel. Do I think that some people do not deserve a dispense paid for by the taxpayer? Viscerally, my answer is yes, but logically and as a citizen, my answer is no. We as a society, if we are going to prosecute somebody, take their life or put them in prison for a number of years, I think we have an obligation to provide them a fair trial and due process. And if they don't have the money to be able to pay for it, then we have the obligation, I think, to pay for it. And that's what sets us apart from a lot of places in the world where if you don't have money, you just don't get a defense. And, some of these cases we can say, gee, they're slam dunks or it's so awful, but if you're rich, if you have money, whether it's a slam dunk or it's awful, you still get the opportunity to make a defense. And I think we owe it to everyone to do that. I just think it makes us a better and a fairer and a more just society. So, okay, I'm going to end with another clip from the press conference the other day. I thought that the sheriff put it very well, and so I thought I would end with him today. So when that clip is ready, we will put it up.
The loss of a child is among the most profound tragedies any community can endure, and that loss is exacerbated when it is at the hand of someone else, and particularly at the hand of the one who should have loved them the most. Today, we stand together in grief, but also with resolve. Melodee deserved a far better life than she had. We will honor her memory by ensuring that every step of this process is handled with care, compassion, and a steadfast commitment to justice. Our investigation does not end here. We will continue working closely with prosecutors and ensure that the judicial process moves forward with integrity. May God bless the innocent soul of Melodee Buzzard, who we will never, ever forget.
Ciao a tutti.